right, baby. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. I missed you guys. It's been a minute, but we're back at it again. We are here with 2020 Vision Podcast, baby. I am your host, your diva, your queen extraordinaire, comedian visionary speaks, coming to you live to give you guys another piece of knowledge that we need in today's society. And today's topic is off the strength. Black women, we're talking about what would Black women do, okay? So we have a wonderful, illustrious panel of women here to discuss the different things that affect us and how we are seen by society. So I am excited. So I'm going to just cut it all short and just get started with our first guest coming to the stage, honey, the virtual stage, darling. Comedian Nicole Denise, baby, welcome.
Thank y'all. Thank you, Visionary, for having this platform. How y'all doing today?
Oh yes, I love a good flip, girl. When you can just flip it to the side, honey. Oh, you can braids out. 90s. That's that old school 80s hair. I love it. Okay, absolutely. Well, I'm glad to have you, Queen. Introduce yourself to the people. Let them know who you are and where they can find you.
Let me see. How do I even start? Okay, I'm Nicole Denise. You can find me at Nicole Did My Hair on Instagram. I am a comedian. I am a mother of two beautiful little girls. I'm a wife. I'm an author of children's books. I've been a hairstylist since 1997, worked in the industry. And here I stand as the beautiful soul that you see. And I've done plenty of work to call myself a beautiful soul. Okay, thank you.
Okay, they can just see you and know that that's the work already. Okay, if y'all don't see the beautiful soul, you ain't looking. Well, thank you, sister. Next up to the stage, wonderful returning guest to the panel. Love her. The insight is going to be amazing. Going to have very diverse views, and I look forward to it. Welcome to the stage, Jess. Hello.
Hi. Oh, I'm just delighted to get to join this dialogue today. Give some shine to Black women and all that we do in society. In my day job, I am an anti-racist facilitator, and my side hustle is, starting to do comedy, which I've been really enjoying, and I think it's just a fantastic path for truth telling that isn't always possible in the day job. So I've loved connecting with other artists and folks who are speaking out for our people and for justice.
Amazing. I always say comedy is a tool, honey. It's a vessel for the truth that they'll listen to. Thank you, Jess. I'm glad to have you. Next up to the stage, the fabulous, the wonderful Victoria. Come on up. Tell the people.
Hey, ladies. How y'all doing? I'm so glad to be on the panel with you all. This is my first time here, and I'm glad to be here talking about Black women. I am a stand-up comic as well. Just been chilling, doing comedy on Zoom. My day job, I'm a bookkeeper, so I do the accounting thing. And I got a lot to say. I'm happy to bring my perspective. My stand-up persona is I'm a mad Black woman. So
aren't we all?
Apparently.
I mean, we'll see. We'll talk about it. And last but certainly not least, just friend to the show, okay? Y'all know her. Y'all love her. I'm just bringing her up because it's already done. Come on, Queen Veronique. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back. I'm so excited. All of you intelligent, lovely ladies. Yes, I'm here for this conversation.
Oh, we are here for it and we are ready for it. So we are first going to start out with a toast to Black women. Everybody get drinks your libations. I'm drinking on that pretty wine, that pretty red Cabernet, baby. Yeah. Congratulations for turning the whole world on its head and dictating this election, baby.
Come on.
Yes.
Cheers to us. Okay.
We did that.
We did
that.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Now, if you don't know what we're talking about because you've been living under a rock, Black women by far determine the outcome of this election. And even Biden announced that Black women had a major role in the outcome in many of the major cities that turned blue this year. So we got to give ourselves the roses while we're alive. Okay. So we're going to give Black women all their praises. Shout out to Biden and Kamala Harris. Everybody just take a deep sigh of relief. Thank you, Lord. made it through the storm. So we want to give ourselves credit first. But like, let me just get a gauge of the room. Like, how do you all feel, being that we're all Black women of power and influence in this society? How do you feel about how we actually impacted this election? So we'll start with Nicole. How do you feel about it?
Oh man. You know what? It's a really good feeling, to be honest. You know what I mean? I feel like we always show up. Let me just put that out there. I feel like Black women, we always show up. This is just part of who we are. But I felt like it was so necessary for us to show up this time, just for our culture, not just Black women, period, but for our culture as a whole. And I'm so glad we did that, because we were up against some serious odds, for real, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Like if it was just, and that's I love that you really brought light to the fact that we always do this. This is not new. Okay. We just finally got credit for the things Black women, and I'll have Jess explain this further, but Black women have always showed up and showed out in high numbers. We haven't always been able to determine the outcome because our counterparts don't always show up in the same amount of numbers. And then the other group might come out a little bit stronger, as you could see in the election previous. So Jess, what do you have to say about the outcomes and how we have gotten to this point and the credit that we deserve?
Well, I just want to take it a little further back and then a lot further back. First, I mean, Biden really needs to look to Black women and the Black community for even making it through the primaries. Yes. It was the Black vote in South Carolina that got him to the nomination in the first place. Mm-hmm. And then beyond that, we saw, all across the country. We saw, in Georgia, we saw up in, Michigan and Detroit, we saw in Philadelphia, we saw these urban centers where a lot of the community organizing has been and continues to be done by Black women. And that is how our community showed up. And if we go further back, we know that Black women were doing a lot of on the ground organizing in the civil rights movement, and we're not getting the credit. I mean, Fannie Lou Hamer stands out as a woman who was a Black woman who did get some recognition, but even in terms of Martin Luther King, it was Mahalia Jackson who at the day of the march was like, "Tell them about the dream, Martin," and so it's like there's this whole story that is still being told of the influence we had from the beginning, and we go all the way back to Harriet Tubman. I mean, like Black women resisting the oppression and nonsense that the United States has consistently thrown our way.
Absolutely. And taking it in stride. And that token, shout out to Stacey Abrams, who is still doing the work. Thank you, my sister, because she is still out here working and striving and getting she's finally getting some of the credit she deserved, because I was one of those people who, I'm not even from Georgia, but I watched that election when she was in it. And I was like, I would vote for her. I was so behind. I started canvassing for her, and I'm like, bitch, you live in Michigan. You're not even in the number. But I'm like, vote for her. I started calling people from Atlanta, like, y'all need to get on top of this because she's doing things. And I was so heartbroken when she lost. And I love that she's resurrected again in this situation. And I just hope that she actually takes another position and tries to run again. Go ahead, Jess.
I appreciate you mentioning Stacey Abrams, because one of the other things that I love and appreciate about Black women is that we give each other credit. So if you follow Stacey Abrams, you will see that she then lists several other predominantly Black women who've been laying the path. And so she understands that she's getting that additional visibility, and she's creating a platform for others to get recognized. But also that, like, even her loss shows you about the character of Black women, shows you how even when we have a setback, we just use it to regroup, and then we come back even stronger.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, how do you lose and you still the speaker at the Democratic convention? Even after, she's like, let's call her to speak.
That part.
Like, she's just a regular citizen, but that makes sense because she's such a dynamic person and dynamic speaker. Veronique, like, how do you feel being as a queen in today's society? We did this. How do you feel?
Yes. I of course knew that Black women would never let me down. So point blank. I, as a Black woman, knew that Black women weren't going to let me down because we care about self-preservation and our communities. We have a lot more selflessness than we probably need to, but we care so deeply about our communities because we know how far-reaching it is, and not just our immediate future, but beyond that. Once we gone, and I really appreciate how I wasn't gung ho about Biden. I'm gonna be completely honest. I voted. Not gung ho. Not just okay.
You did your job. You did your job.
You know, I did. You know, I just came in here so I don't get fined. You feel me?
That's what I was saying. You know, they want to get fined with another 4 years of that jackass.
No, another 4 years. My mental space can't take that. Another 4 years of this man being phobic of all kinds. Like and outwardly so. And then, you know, the habitual lying and all of the, you know, all of the most unbecoming things of an employer, let alone a
human being.
So but yeah, I am thankful to Black women, and I'm thankful to be a Black woman. But I'm tired that we the ones that always got to show up.
Right. We don't even create the mess. We got to clean it up every time.
Everybody else show up.
Please show up. Victoria, how do you feel just being in the midst of this election and having had played such a strong role? I'd be taking it like it's me. I'd be like, yes, I did that.
Oh, I did. I took full credit. I feel amazing. I honestly didn't even realize how much a weight I was carrying on my shoulder, even though I was angry every day about everything. But when it came through, you know, like Veronique said, I had no doubt that the Black women were going to come through, show up and show out. Because one thing about a Black woman, you ain't going to gaslight us. You ain't going to run nothing past us. No. So we knew, like, you know, Ice Cube, who? Lil Wayne, bye. You know, everybody sit down and be quiet. My eyes are telling me no. And so I knew we weren't going to be bamboozled, and I knew we were going to represent because we have the compassion, and we have the passion enough to get in the game, even if we're not going to win personally. We'll get in the game for the little children that's getting separated from their parents at the border. We're going to get in the game for the Black men that are getting shot, even if some Black men may not necessarily be willing to get in the game themselves. You know, we know a little bit goes a long way. Every little bit baby step. And just like Stacey Abrams, you know, Atlanta is my hometown. So, you know, I was destroyed. I even was like, Stacey Abrams for vice president. Like,
yes, I thought she was going to get it too.
I mean, this is, you know, a dynamic being, let alone in a Black body. And for her to understand that her purpose is an infinite one, and not just a personal achievement one, it's like Black women stand up. And the sad part is we still don't stand up. We be like, okay, and next. So I am proud.
Yeah.
That is so true. We're always off to the next project because the house is always burning for us. Yeah. It always is. Yeah. Like, why do you all think we have such a weight on our shoulder as Black women? Like, we feel responsible for a lot of people. And I don't know where that weight necessarily comes from. We could speculate, but why do y'all think that there's such a weight? Go ahead, Cole.
Yes.
I mean, it's generational. Like, if you think all the way back, we can't even account for what we did in our individual tribes before slavery. We can't even account for what we carried as women because women carry it. You know what I'm saying? But if you think about it, we were trying to hold on to our husbands then. During slavery, let me be clear. We were trying to hold on to our families then. We weren't only raising our children that we were allowed to keep and that were still alive, but we were raising the white people's and the slave masters' children. We were birthing their children. We were cooking their food. We were trying to figure out what food we was going to eat with the little scraps we got. We have generationally carried the weight, and it's passed through every generation. So ancestrally, we carry it. And I don't know when that cycle is going to stop, but I think it's just part of our makeup.
Yeah. I've seen so many times where Black women have come to people's defense. and in particular white women and other people in different ethnicities. We've always been an ally. I look at the feminist movement and things that we were not even allowed to be a part of. Like it wasn't it wasn't about us.
Yeah.
It was about, and anytime we would talk about anything racial, it'd be like, keep the focus on the larger picture. Don't muddy the waters with your race things. This is about feminism. This is about being a woman. But literally, we're the last considered. You know, when we go to rankings, it's like, you know, white men, black men, all the other men's, and then comes the white women's and all the other women's, and somewhere down there is black women. So we're like a double, triple minority. And that's if you're, you know, straight up, straight heterosexual black woman, then you're at the bottom. But then if there's anything other than that, you're somewhere down under there, like beyond that. So it seems like, why do we take on that burden if we know that we're not considered in the same light? Go ahead, Jess, and then Victoria.
I mean, Veronique already said it, self-preservation. We are trying to survive. We're trying to maximize the longevity and survival of our people. And so we keep doing what the circumstances require, despite the toll on ourselves. And, you know, Nicole was saying, you know, wondering about when the cycle is going to end. I don't think that the cycle itself is ending anytime soon. I do appreciate, though, that there's more attention to one, the notion of Black excellence. There's an article in Essence in the last year about Black excellence is killing us. You know, of course, Essence is especially kind of like catering to a Black professional female audience. For us to be able to look at, you know, from a generational standpoint, we know we're going to continue to have responsibility. We are fantastic and you know talented leaders, and we need to lead in a way that we can sustain ourselves. Because you know, some of as I'm a Black queer woman. And so, you know, when I think about like Audre Lorde and June Jordan, for example, they both died relatively young. And so, you know, they left their mark, but they also didn't stay as long as, you know, as they. So I'm personally very into the movements that are now happening around Black women's health, you know, around, you know, therapy, the notion that, you know, that therapy can be part of an overall reparations package. Because we have a lot of healing to do because of how we've had to be resilient in completely unthinkable times for generations.
Yes. Victoria?
That's so true, Jess. And I didn't even think of that. But like, I think honestly, there does have to be a complete emotional and mental reprogramming of the trauma of Black people and specifically Black women. Because it definitely runs through DNA, and a lot of unconscious programming comes through just standard parenting and just taking it down the line. But I was also, you know, thinking about how spiritual Black women generally are, you know, whether it's in the church or in any other spiritual modality, you know, you find Black women in mass there. And I think that sometimes having that higher connection also makes us less selfish because we know where to go to get our stuff right. And so we have the compassion and we have the love to see like, okay, we want to make the whole world a better place. And, you know, we'll use our spirituality to fortify ourselves. And in the meantime, serve, you know, like we are the servants. Yeah.
We are the servants, but you know, we're also going into a whole new generation of Black women. And I would have to go to that notion that's coming out that we see so much of, I am not my ancestors. And I like that statement and I don't like that statement because I don't want to discount my ancestors as not being fighters because they absolutely were. It was just different circumstances. But when you hear I am not my ancestors and you see people fighting back and not being so, you know, servient to the societal norms that have been placed on Black people, because as a whole, we have been taught that we have to bring ourselves down and make ourselves more humble. Or, you know, when they go low, we go high. And I've always thought about that. Like, why can't I just go in the middle? Like, I don't want to have to be this best person. I don't want to have to be better than anybody else just because they're terrible people. And if we look even an inch of being human, then it proves their point about us. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Like, what do you all think? Go ahead, Verity.
I do want to bring up kind of a little bit of the red table talk, this past one with Olivia Jade, and it really stuck out to me because I'm gonna call her Miss Banfield, because at that moment she was my grandma too, because I felt her deeply. It's like, who is this little white girl? You really gonna have this little white girl on here? And like, this is her, what is her penance campaign, and she's gonna use us Black people once again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, of course it's not just her, it's how many other Black people have been used to prop up Justin Timberlake. Like like come on, we prop up these people that if any of the same things had happened to any one of us, we would be to the cross.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense how resilient we have been. Oh my goodness, it doesn't make sense. And what makes it even more infuriating is like, are y'all and it's more so for white people, like, are y'all really just expecting that this is going to continue? Like, at some point, yes, we can fortify ourselves in spirituality. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because I wouldn't have got through. Hey, Jesus, crazy. Praise him.
Why do you do it?
But at some point, we gonna get tired of these other cheeks. I only got 4. Okay. And 2 of them, I'm real. You hit me right. Like it just, I feel for Black women so often, because I have conversations with Black men and they're like, why? And it's mostly them speaking to me, but I know too many Black women that have the same, thought process as me to not speak also. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we know that we have to put forth the effort, because if we don't, then any and everybody that saw us not doing anything, they'll just say we loved it. Well, mm-hmm. Was it Zora Neale Hurston? I can't remember the author. If you don't speak up about your pain, you'll die, and they'll say that you loved it. Mm-hmm. Something along that. Just forgive me if I got it wrong, but like that seemed like that's the overall theme I feel so often with Black women. And I'm like, I don't want that for us. We've laid it down. We keep laying it down. We keep showing up. We keep stepping up. At some point, there, in our genetic coding, something's going to split and break, and we are not going to be for the shit.
Jess?
I'm going to be brief, but you were talking about, when they go low, we go high. One of, Michelle Obama's quotes. I'm tired of going high. I stay high all day in my professional work, in my anti-racist facilitation. And there is a piece of staying high that sets us up to be complicit and too patient and too collaborative in the change that needs to happen. That is exactly why I do comedy. So I can go a bit lower. I mean, sometimes actually go low. Because it's beyond time.
It is.
Absolutely.
And we've been silenced a lot of those times when we have to. That means don't make them afraid of you. That's what I hear when I say don't go down that level. Don't make them fearful of you, because you already are fearful to them. Yeah. Victoria?
I was just going to say that here's the thing about the ancestors. They were the strongest among us. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, it's like the odds that they have, women giving birth in the fields, babies being born, and they don't even get breastfed because their mom is back out working, and they some are surviving, going through hell and still making it, And so I say I live for my ancestors. Like, my ancestors didn't go through this for me to sit and deal with this for a paycheck. Right. Like if my great like, Victoria, why are you dealing with this mess? And I'm like, because rent in California is high. She ain't gonna be listening to that. So I hear that, but I think, my whole thing about being treated properly is I feel like if somebody is treating you the way you're supposed to be treated, you don't go to them to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
You exclude them so you don't have to deal with them to get what you need. And as strong and powerful as Black women are, I think our next phase is to create our own everything. And that way, you don't even got to include anybody in the conversation that don't want to be in it. You can be however and whoever you want to be. Wonderful, because I don't need you. But if you're going to come in here, you're going to come in respectful.
Point blank in a period.
Okay, snap, snap to that. Snap, snap. So that kind of opens up to a further discussion about Protect Black Women. That whole movement that came out. And it's just, and I want to hear what you guys interpret that as, because when I read it, it was more so not like you have to always physically protect us, but stand up for us. You know, say if you support us, don't be passive. If you see some bullshit happening, you should say something. And especially with men, if you see another man condemning another woman, you should say something. And not allow that to be the case. If you see somebody bullying another woman, protect her image. If you see that we are getting paid less and that we are less appreciated in all those forms, you came from a Black woman, so protect Black women. And for some odd reason, when I posted Protect Black Women, I got more comments from Black men in negative fashion saying, well, why do y'all feel we don't protect y'all? And what about the women who's doing this and all the baby mamas? They bringing up all these negative stereotypes of Black women to justify why we're not being protected, or why should we feel we need protection? So I want to hear what you guys think about the idea of protect Black women and what it represents, and is it necessary? Do we need to have protection of Black women in today's society? We'll start with Nicole.
Sorry, I heard my kids. I had so many mixed feelings about so many of the what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily acronyms, but you know what I'm trying to say.
The movements,
hashtags,
that were going around. And the Protect Black Women, initially I was like, yes, you know what I'm saying, protect us. But there were so many side conversations about the protection of Black women and why protect Black women and not Black men. And there was so much around it. It almost made me feel like, you know what, take that out the picture, take that off the table, take that off the conversation, because I need everybody to shut up about it. Like it was a weird feeling for me. I do feel like there should be a Protect Black Women. Like, that shouldn't be such a big deal. It shouldn't be on a t-shirt. It should be automatic. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't feel like that conversation needed to be really had. And it came at the time where our Black men were getting shot. It was like, I don't want this little thing that everyone's trying to put out there to overshadow the bigger picture. It was I don't know if it was just me, but it was such a weird, uncomfortable thing for me. I don't know if I don't think I tagged onto it as fast. I wasn't like, yes, protect Black women. I was kind of like, are we taking it too far left? You know, I don't know. You guys, somebody else give their opinion, and I could tack onto it, because I had two.
Yes, and you know what? It's so funny, because in that very moment of us talking about protect Black women, you as a Black woman didn't want to deflect from Black Lives Matter to protect yourself. You literally on this platform
just did it.
Put your own incentive aside to the greater picture, which is Black Lives Matter. And which is, we sacrifice ourselves all the time. Even within the idea of Black Lives Matter, they didn't start saying Breonna Taylor till they got done saying George Floyd. Yeah. So in instance, hers actually happened before his. Yeah. So we always put ourselves to the side. We're always seconded. I'm so excited that it happened right here.
I can't say it. I just did it. We just talked about
it. Go ahead, Jess.
Well, I think we do that because we understand that we're trying to push for a broader movement, because the broader movement needs to happen for our liberation and for that of our people. And at the same time, Kimberly Crenshaw, who coined the term intersectionality, has a fantastic TED Talk where she just lays it out. She's like, how many Black women who have been killed by, police violence, how many of their names do you know? And the bottom line is that there are many Black women who have also been affected by police violence and police brutality whose names are not known because of sexism. And I think for me, I wish that there was some safety or place where we could have this conversation just among Black people. We don't have that luxury. And so I think society very easily is willing to divide and conquer us, even though in order for, and that's why I feel like the all Black Lives Matter movement really bringing up like the importance, for example, of trans women in particular, who have been also disproportionately affected by hate crimes directed towards transgender women. Like when we take a holistic perspective, it strengthens our liberation, but the society will absolutely then try to divide us. On the basis of how our collective diversity intersects with other agendas.
Right. And there's divisions within it, and we all Black lives do matter, but it for us to be able to multitask, we can't multitask. Like it's terrible. Like we say we can't, we want to, but really they want to focus in on one thing. And really, we have to get to the point where we can have a broader discussion about everybody. It's really is Black lives, but the only reason why we have to say Black lives is because it became a Black issue. But really, it's a humanity issue. It's bad people and good people, and that goes beyond race. But if we were to make it into a small box, yes, Black lives matter, all lives matter, and also all Black lives matter. But we have to do this because those conversations aren't being had, and that's why we have to say protect Black women, because it wasn't happening before. So, just going off that, where do we go from there? Victoria?
I was gonna say, like, a couple of things that are coming into my mind are normally, like, this is not a gender thing, but like back in the day, like the protectors were the more physically capable. And in our society, I think that protect Black women goes hand in hand with empower Black men and re-strengthen Black men. Because at the end of the day, like as much as I love my white sisters, let something happen to Becky. See, won't Billy Bob, Jimbo, and everybody else be out there like, okay, somebody about to die till we find out what's going on with Becky. She'll go missing, and nobody says nothing. And
just so a pound of Black girls go missing, a pound of them. So many. We stopped hearing the stories. What happened to them babies?
And then the other part is, so it's like to strengthen a Black man back into society and knowing like his place is equal amongst all, so that he can come up and demand answers, but also as Black women, to not compete with one another and become sisters to the point where we won't let one of our sisters go missing and let the sun go down without finding out what's going on. Because unfortunately, because the opportunities are limited to people of color, let alone Black women but people of color in general, it's such a competition for everything when it doesn't need to be, as opposed to like, we are one. And we are a family, and Black women are the ones that mobilize, but a lot of times we see each other as the enemy as opposed to each other as a sister that we need to protect. So, like Black Lives Matter was started by women. So if we say protect Black women, all right, well, I mean,
that's where it should end. And it's starting in. That's it.
I mean, and it becomes a greater conversation. And what I don't like that it becomes, well, protect Black women, but what about Black men? Like, I don't, and it slides. It's a slippery slope every single time. And I've had so many Facebook debates, I can't even count, with my uncles. It's not, me having, I had to say, like, literally don't come under this post with anything about the Black male, anything, because it's not about you this time. Because I reposted a post by Viola Davis, and she talked about how she's had all the accolades of Meryl Streep and all these other white actresses, but she could never get the jobs that they do or have the acclaim that they have. And she's even been like deemed like the Black Meryl Streep. Like, how is that the case when I have that same professionalism? Why can't I be myself?
Yeah.
I have to be likened to a white person and still not get the same respect, you know? So when I posted that, it became another conversation about, but what about Black men? You know, what about the struggle of Black men? And, you know, I just didn't want to say like that doesn't matter, because it does. It's
but
not
right
now. Not right.
On this post.
On this in my house. And me and mine, we talking about Black women. And that's where it gets so muddy, because we're all fighting for somebody to appreciate us. And it's not even our community. We're looking for the outside community to give us validation. And we don't even appreciate ourselves.
Yeah.
So, like, where do we start the work?
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see that, especially with Black women, that we're doing more of the work just for ourselves, because we're experiencing most of the burnout. Like, we're constantly trying to help, constantly, even just in our speech, let alone our actions, just in our speech. And Nicole couldn't make it about protect the Black women. She had to make it about all of us, and I'm not mad at that, because I've been there. I am Nicole, and Nicole is me. So let's not think I'm any different.
She is her sister's keeper.
You feel me? Like,
thank you, Bernie.
Like, I get that, and I feel like so often when men want to be contrarian, I'm just like, I'm totally down for you having this conversation on your own post.
Yes.
Stop trying to piggyback off of mine and make it seem like I have some type of invalidation in my ask. No, I don't. And you don't either. And whatever questions or what I can't even think of the word. Whatever questions or whatever the hell you got going on, any contrarian views you need to put out there, you have your own page, and you can start that actual discourse and actual conversation that starts something that will provide actual actionable results. But y'all just continue to piggyback off of Black women, and it's weighing us down. You're heavy, you're a burden, you're muling us for no reason. Like, for no reason. You're just being you want to be the devil's advocate. I hate you, motherfuckers. I want you to know. Devil's advocate, I hate you, motherfuckers. Like, you literally are letting the devil use you. That's how I think of it. I'm done. We done here. We don't need. You already don't even have a mind of your own. You let the devil use you. Go on that way.
Got enough advocates. You know, and that's what I felt when I posted it. It's like, did I just send out invisible shots to these niggas?
No.
Like, you say protect Black women. I just shot a whole bunch of ain't shit people, and they got really upset. You know, because it's never the ones that felt like they've really been out here advocating for women. It's never them. It's the one that's upset about a situation that happened with somebody else. They had bad experiences with mean Black people or mean Black women or baby mamas and all this. And now they're saying, but say what's wrong with you though. But what about you though? Like, and it's like,
I got a journal for that, nigga.
Why do I need to do that? Like, why do I have to be self-deprecating? Which we gonna go to Victoria, and then we gonna come over here to Kevin Samuels in a second. So go ahead.
All I was gonna say, Visionary Speaks, like you just hit it on the nail when you said it's not all of them. It's really the ones that are butthurt, because the truth is there are a lot of Black men that are very supportive and protective of Black women and have no problem with that statement and understand that one doesn't take away from the other. But I think that there's also a group of Black men that do not respect Black women. And I think that it is a guilty conscience thing that gets triggered, just like when Black Lives Matter came through and then all Black Lives Matter came and they were like, well, wait a minute, what about us who are getting killed and also getting killed at the hands of straight Black men? And then they were like, y'all be quiet. This isn't about you. Go sit down.
To the back of the seats, you know.
And the same thing. It's a guilty conscience. It's like, you don't want to talk about this because protect Black women isn't just a racial thing.
The pause.
Everybody, you know, like you guilty too. And so they basically are saying, don't call me out right now because I'm in pain. That's what it's really about.
Right. We're both victims. So,
and it's like, you know, right. Stop. We asking everybody to protect Black women, and everybody is a perpetrator, not just white people. And I think certain Black men that are guilty get triggered, and that's where they have a statement about it, because they're like, don't bring the spotlight on me right now.
Hey, we ain't talking about Let's talk about the fact that you hitting women in your household. You better protect the Black woman that you know. You know, they don't want to talk about that.
Nope. They want it quiet. Right. They're like, make me look good right now. Because we
don't make me look bad in public. Okay? We family.
Right. Now is not the time. That's what's happening. The same thing with all Black Lives Matter. It was the same thing. Y'all be quiet. Now is not the time to talk about that.
Exactly. We ain't trying to muddy this now. Y'all gonna bring in all the gay stuff. Look, we can talk about that. And we need to. We need to talk about that. That's why I had a whole discussion about Black in the gay community, because it needed to be said. I think we get so bogged down in our own stuff and we don't realize that that gay person is a Black person, you jackass. So protecting them is just as important, but you devalue them because of their actual sexuality. And how can you do that? That's like white people devaluing us because of our skin.
Right.
They don't make the connection. I don't know how, but they don't make the connection to that
at all. Refuse to.
Yeah.
You'll never know until you can smell the shit in your own diaper.
Well, and on that note,
go ahead, Jess.
Well, I'm just gonna say, you know, as a Black queer woman, married to a woman, raising a 4-year-old, you know, we're a rainbow family. Yeah, I mean, I understand that the history includes that, you know, the Black community has been so under assault in the history of, you know, the United States that for a long time, respectability politics like carried the day. It was just sort of this thing about like, we shouldn't be airing our dirty laundry, whether it's about sexism, whether it's about sexuality, you know, gender, et cetera, that like, that we were supposed to somehow just not bring it to the table. But it's been decades now and it needs to be at the table if we're going to actually make substantial progress. So, you know, I post frequently, you know, on, you know, my, you know, Instagram at The Willing Four, at the intersections. You know, I'm bringing up, you know, Black gay folks, Black women, you know, Black folks with disabilities, you know, just really trying to bring lots of different, like, just because we are such a diverse diaspora. Because it's not just Black, I mean, like, you know, even amongst Black folks who live in the US, we have many nationalities. So I'm excited to see more voices and more of the intersectionality in the Black community coming to the surface, even if it does make folks uncomfortable to a greater degree than their country.
Absolutely. Your comfort comes at a cost, you know? You can't just be comfortable without a cost. And I think that that's where we have to self-evaluate in the way that, first in home, how we treat each other. So going back to that discussion, you know, I had a video come across my timeline of this guy, and all these guys is in the back doing the Arsenio Hall who about his comment to this Black woman who Kevin Samuels, he has a channel. I'm not gonna big it up. You can find it if you want to. It's on World Star. But he basically came for this woman. Now, it is a very touchy subject. Now, a woman came on and she was asking for advice because she wanted to know why her love life was in shambles. And she wanted men that were of a certain caliber of wealth, which actually matched her fly because she's a 6-figure woman. That part, which we did not bring up. She's a business owner. That part we did not accentuate. But she did come on the video screen And this man rid her for filth about her being an average looking woman. She did not look good enough to deserve a six-figure man, because a six-figure man can afford a great looking woman. And she was too average at best, to quote him. And she was couldn't even quote herself anything above a 7. When he gave her a chance to rank herself on live, YouTube's, couldn't even rank above a 7, and she didn't. She stayed at a 5 without makeup and a 6 with makeup. So that's her own self-ranking, and she allowed this man to tell her what she was worth and what she deserves. Now, I'm not going to be that woman that's so biased to just be like, still fuck him. But beyond the fuck him, I do understand that sometimes we as women we overlook good men because they don't have everything that checks off in our boxes. And that could be our own pride or how we see ourselves. And sometimes there are those snooty snooties that think they are shit, and you need to calm down, baby. And you need to hear that sometimes. But it's just the way in which he did it really tore her to shreds. And it made the lesson I think he was trying to get is you're not worth that. You're not good enough because of how you look. She even went as far as to bring up her body. Like, but my body's good though. If my face isn't enough, isn't my body enough? I have a good body. He asked her what her dress size was. Yeah. What the fuck does that have to do with what I can bring to a relationship? Or the fact that I'm a good person with good intentions and I have a good heart in me beyond my face. But let me let y'all come in on this. How do y'all feel? Do you feel, one, to the statement of men rating women and saying you should go within your ranks of looks, not even financials, because if she was financially, she would be with a 6-figure man because she's a 6-figure woman. Okay. But also not, because we do tend, and a lot of men were in agreement. But so we have to realize the world we're in is a lot of men are in agreement that if you can't bring your body and your face to the table for that cost, then you're not being realistic with yourself. And sometimes those 6-figure men are looking for women of that caliber. So what do you guys think?
Who want to start?
Go ahead, Nicole. She took the first breath.
Jess, you want to start? I got a lot. So
I can be extremely brief.
Okay.
It was heartbreaking and it was infuriating. I am disappointed that man even has the platform he has and thought that was okay. And I just deeply feel for her. If anyone goes to watch that video, they will see that she is a beautiful Black woman. And, Black women are beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, the whole premise of ranking herself was off in the first place. Right. And I hope that she finds a Black empowerment source. There's lots of ways she can find it, but I want that for her so that she will never allow another man to disrespect her in the way that he did. He was wrong for it. And I want more for her.
Yeah. I almost wish we knew who she was to bring her on this platform, so we could fill her with the love and the respect that she actually deserves. Because as a Black woman who is making 6 figures herself, let's put that out there, because she said she's making 6 figures. Yeah. She should have automatically ranked herself as a 9, almost close to a 10, just on the merit of her hard work and her beautiful soul. Let's start with that. I don't think it should ever be within someone else's right to rank anyone else on what they deserve as a human being. I completely agree with you, Jess. I don't understand why this man has a platform. The way he tore that woman down was heartbreaking for me to watch. I was angry first. I'm still a little angry, as y'all can tell by the tone of my voice.
Absolutely.
But I was literally heartbroken because you could see in her face that she was actually there for acceptance, which makes me even more sad that she felt the need to ask anybody for acceptance instead of having it within herself to say, you know what, on the merit of who I am as a spirit, I don't have to ask you a fucking thing because I am who I am, and whoever is supposed to be with me is going to find me, and I worked my ass off, and they're going to work their ass off to meet me. Now, another thing I have to say is there is a very small section of Black men who are intimidated by Black women who are six-figure women. They don't like it, and they don't appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? And I said it's a small section. Black men, don't get upset. It's a very small section.
Don't at her.
Don't at me. Don't come with me, because I am my
Come
ancestors.
at her, come at me.
I am my ancestors. I'm gonna come with the thunder if you come for me. Just know that. Okay. But there is a small section of those men who are intimidated by that. And I feel like that man in that moment was stuck with all of his insecurities, and he let all of that insecure that's within himself pour out on her. Because if you listen to anything he said, and if you listen in with a very strong and good ear, you can almost hear the sound of the cries of the young boy who was probably looked over, who didn't have the Black women looking at him or whatever. It was a very insecure statement, and it was disgusting. And I invite his mama, if she's still alive, to whoop his ass. And if not, he can at me, and I got this belt up here for that ass.
We all ready for the first one.
We all got a lineup. I'm like, I ain't even got I got a couple belts right now. Just ready.
But
no kids, but I got a couple belts.
True. It's a few belts on deck for that, but that's sadly that's how people think. You know, we talked about Black men going to white women and looking for validation in white women. They don't put the same standard of beauty on white women. Being white is already a certain standard of beauty for them.
Yeah.
I've seen some very successful Black men with some very average looking white, I'd say below average, looking white women, very, very homely white women. And they were just happy. They happily had her on his shoulder. Not to say that your value is based off your looks, but it seems like sometimes that equates to why they were chosen in the first place, and why so many Black women, in particular, unfortunately, dark-skinned Black women, get overlooked and have to go the extra mile to prove their beauty and to show. And she said that, like, just being a dark-skinned Black woman. Another woman came on who was a dark-skinned Black woman, and he read her for filth as well. He said you can't use that as an excuse, because she was saying, well, Black women sometimes get seen as aggressive. So I felt like I had to dim myself down and make myself sweeter. And what he missed completely, he was like, that's not real. That's all in your head. Why do you feel like you have, maybe you're not confident. Why do you feel like you have to dim yourself down, make yourself sweeter? And I'm like, you are not tuned in.
No.
At all. Because we do it all the time. We code switch. We and it's not because of our insecurity. It's because we know our light, and we know how bright we shine to others, and we know that can affect our ability to be successful. If we are our true selves, sometimes in these corporate offices and in these white village streets and wherever we're going, if we are our true authentic self, and we're not angry at women, it's just when we are our true vivacious selves, it is misconceived and it is used against us, and that's what it is. But he was like, you are just creating this in your mind, and maybe you're not confident, and that's just something. No, she's doing what she has to do, as we said this whole time, to survive. She is not being at her full self, because her full self is a threat. Like you, Black man, if you were your full self and not your dapper Dan self, if you could be a fully authentic self, you wouldn't act like that. You wouldn't have to code switch, but you do.
Right.
So where is your role in that? So I was completely, thoroughly disappointed, but I do want to turn a little bit of the conversation
Mhm.
to hold ourselves a little bit accountable of our expectations. You know, I don't know the caliber of everybody on this call. I'm a married woman of
Mhm.
1 year, and I've been with my husband for over 11 years. But I have friends who are single and have been single for quite some time. And we all have our reasons for why we are single. But where do we hold ourselves accountable to our expectations of what we do deserve? We do deserve good men, but just for the single women and married women on on the call, what do you think as far as are we asking for too much, or we willing to settle, or should be looking in both directions?
Settle.
I mean, you should never be willing to settle.
Hey now.
Technique.
We have to adjust.
I compromise instead of 6'5" to 6 feet.
There she goes. She made slight adjustments. But Victoria, what do you think? Like, are our expectations too high sometimes, and it keeps us single?
I think it's on a case by case basis. When I was looking at the situation with her, I kind of was like, this is just a reflection of society and the way it is now. Like, it's hella commercial and it's over sexualized. And so women are, we value money, men value money, and men look at women for their sexuality, and we look at ourselves for our sexuality. And so, like he's overly sexualizing her by asking her to rate herself physically. And then she's sexualizing herself, going, wait. My body is a this. It's like, girl, excuse me, your body. You talking about your bones and flesh and fat sacks? Like, this is no, ma'am. These are systems and organs. This is not, you are misconstruing. And Nicole said it so beautifully. It's like a person wanting to be in a relationship with a person. It's about, is my heart open? Am I stable emotionally? Can I take care of my damn self? And can you take care of your damn self? That's really all you need. My requirements, I don't care if you make a lot of money, as long as you can take care of yourself. And you got to be happy, kind, and stable. That's it. If you are happy and you are kind and you are stable, I don't care what you look like. You got to be equipped.
Hey now. Hey now. Hey.
But, that's another subject, But that's generally all you need, and for a relationship, in my opinion. But I think it varies. But I think because of how society is, it reflects certain people that we look at each other the way society looks at each other.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Vernie.
Okay, and I know I make a lot of jokes about not dating broke boys and none of this shit. I still date broke men. It don't matter. But at the end of the day, we in a pandemic. Ain't nobody.
She's the right thing.
But I say it. I think of it like this, especially to Victoria's point, because of the time we're in. It's just we're so inundated, and now we're in the house, and all we have are these screens to really look at, instead of looking outside our windows. If y'all have like beautiful landscapes outside your windows, then great. But like, I'm looking at cement out back. That's not. But having the conversation, I think more so now about dating as Black women and managing our expectations is so much more different now, considering all that has gone on. I think I compromise. I date broke men. Will I get in a relationship with one? My compromise is no. Like, that's how that works. But like, I feel like so often with men, they usually have been socialized to think of us as sex anyway. And it's so weird because when I'm on dating, like, if your first interaction with me is, oh, I'm a horny nigga, then, oh, I'm a rich bitch and I need you to pay for some shit. Like, what you want me to do? Like that's how that starts to play into people's narratives. Because like, if you're just gonna ask me like I'm some prostitute, then yeah, come on. And usually I ask that question just to get them out of my face. But like, if you really drop the cash app, I'm gonna block you. But thank you.
So we're willing, but we ain't willing. There's levels to this.
There's levels. There are levels.
And go ahead, Nicole.
Okay, I have a question I'm gonna pose to you guys. What do you feel? Because I feel like there's this, with the way hip hop has gone and the way the music is going and this whole fake booties and fake all of that. How do you guys feel like that has played into exactly what this man was saying? Well, what's your body? Well, what's your face? Like, are we accountable for parts of these women's psyche? Not all women. Some of us can listen to the music and keep it pushing. I am who I am.
But, yeah.
You can take the cellulite or not. I'm
dancing to it, but I don't
know. I'm a pop it for you, but only my husband is my husband. You know what I mean? But are we do we hold ourselves accountable? Do you know what I'm saying?
I definitely, I know I definitely do. But I mean, of course I'm gonna make the jokes because that's what I do. but like, of course, in my personal life, I'm just like, I don't want to make anyone that I would consider dating feel out, like they're being put out. like you can't afford me. You can't, like, I'm just hitting you up, tapping, like, oh, you see whatever is going on in these music videos and you think I want a Balenciaga bag too. Like, I don't need, like, it does contribute. I know that it does contribute. I know it contributes more so for like the guys more so that I've dated. And you have to be like, whoa, I'm a realist. Yeah. You don't have Balenciaga money. It's okay. It's okay.
Where you're high.
No, you got the knockoff Michael Kors money, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because it will get me through. It's a wallet. I just need it. That's it. But I think a lot of the times men don't hold themselves more accountable for what it is that women are actually asking them for, but they hear what it is that they think women perceive they should have for them, or what they think a woman should deserve. And yes, I do believe I deserve the sun, moon, and stars because I do. But like, I understand that that's not for you to give me. I'm working on that myself. I'm working on being my own rich man of my dreams.
Absolutely.
I just need you to be a good human being, lovely, fun, organizationally good, because I be all over the place, help a sister out. But
yeah, match my fly. Go ahead, Jess.
So I just want to say this is going to be my last comment because of my parenting responsibilities. This has been fantastic conversation. To Nicole's question, and especially for me, like, I'm an educator and spent a number of years teaching, working in out-of-school time programs. I think what's heaviest on my heart is the way that our pop culture, our music and our celebrities are influencing very young children. So I think we've seen, like, in the last 10, 20 years, an overall like hypersexualization affecting Black folks, but also affecting just the society at large. And so for me, like, I am very conscious of like what images I'm bringing into my space and doing my best to try to protect my child from all of the like hypersexualized comment and frankly classist content too. Like, and I think all of that points to a shallowness that is very, typical of the capitalist system. And so continuing to root ourselves in values, whether they be religious, whether they be spiritual, or whether they just be based on our overall, our overall uplift, that's where I constantly point. And so, it saddens me when I hear folks talk about like, a whole group of people that they won't date or they won't consider, because it should be about who you are. I mean, I think Victoria spoke very well to that earlier. So I just want to thank each of you for the light that you shine and And I love getting together with Black folks, and I
Yes,
love
let
Black
them know where they
women,
can
so.
find you. We're gonna close it out, but we want to let them know where they can find you because we're all working comedians, baby. You can hire us all.
Yes.
Let them know
Thank you.
where they
Yeah.
can like, comment, and subscribe on your works, Jess.
I am on Instagram at The Willing Four. And I forget exactly who mentioned it, but I specifically chose The Willing Four because come to my page if you are willing to learn, if you are willing to reflect, if you are willing to engage, and if you don't want us to speak the truth, find someplace else because that's not what I'm here for. Truth telling.
Aha. All right. Well,
Yes.
let's go down the line and get everybody. So, Nicole, where can they find you? Final thoughts on the topic, and then where can they find you and support you? We need to support Black women, right?
Yes.
And my final thought on the topic?
Yes, on the whole topic as a whole. Off the strength, Black women. What will Black women do?
I think that just off the rip, I want to say thank you, Visionary, for even doing this because I think this is amazing. I feel like there needs to be more of these panels. There needs to be more of these talks. There needs to be more Black women like ourselves who think as a collective and get these types of thinking out and these perspectives out because there's already a shift happening, and I feel like we just need to get out there a little bit more. So I'm I'm appreciative of this and protect Black women. No, but for real, I think
for real,
for real,
just by itself,
I'm coming back.
That's it.
And this was dope. Listen, and y'all can find me at Nicole Did My Hair on Instagram. It is Nicole with a K. You put in a C, you're not gonna find me. And yeah, there it is.
People, be specific with your searches. Veronique, final thoughts on the topic, and then where can the folks find you and follow you?
Well, first off, thank you, Visionary, and
Absolutely.
you ladies.
Thank you all.
Like, I always enjoy being around, vivacious Black women. So, I guess my final thought is I'm thankful that more and more Black women are taking the stance of focusing on themselves more so, like taking that real internal reflection and the moments of true accountability for themselves and worrying about themselves, because this world has been trying to do a grand lot to not make sure that we take care of ourselves.
Right.
We need us. We need us. Before we need anybody else, we need us.
And we need you to follow her. So what is your information?
That too. It's Veronique the comedian, like it says in my little lower third over there.
And she posts daily, y'all. She posts all the time. So you will be thoroughly entertained.
I'm trying. It was a little that season of depression hit a sister up real hard.
I'm just saying, you doing better than I am, girl. I took some weeks off. I was like, look, I need to figure out how this world gonna end up. Then I'll come back, holla at y'all. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Victoria, final thoughts on the topic and let the people know where they can find you.
I feel so good that we got to just get all of this off our chest. I think this is it's such a deep topic. There's no one size fits all cure or solution, but as Veronique said, it is about Black women. We do have to really focus on ourselves, take care of ourselves, and to some degree protect ourselves until someone else does. And more importantly, I feel like if we value ourselves, that's pretty much all it's going to take. After that, everything else is going to fall into place. And so I am so grateful that I got to be on this panel. I have learned a lot just listening to you wonderful, beautiful ladies. And I feel like I'm not alone in, the struggle of being a Black woman in corporate America and just in the Valley. So you can find me at Victoria Stand Up and Instagram. I'm actually with Jess. We are doing comedy and music for Georgia. It's a fundraiser for the Ossoff Warnock runoff. It's going to be on Sunday. So if y'all want to check it out, 5:00 Pacific, 8:00 Eastern, come laugh and raise some money to flip this Senate so we can go and get some stimulus checks out.
Tell
All
them.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell the people.
Yeah,
I know Georgia, y'all got to step up, bro. We need you. We need you in this
for
moment.
real.
And we appreciate all the Black women doing the work in Georgia to make sure that we keep the Senate so we can actually make viable change. And I just want to thank all the women, all the dynamic Black women on this panel and the ones who are watching. And I hope even the ones who don't necessarily think the way we think, I hope that we've reached a little part of you to want more. I think the thing that we've been cursed with is the lie they told us that we weren't worth it. And the lie they told us that we didn't create this shit from scratch. And the lie they told us that we weren't beautiful according to skin tone.
Right.
And so many other things that have wrecked our society as a whole, no matter if it's Black women or Black people as a whole. We've been told a lot of lies. And we have to deal with our trauma. We have to understand that that is not our narrative. That is not where we come from. And we don't have to adopt those values, even though they've been passed down from generation to generation. So I think coming together as Black women, we have to know that we are privileged to be so woke. We are privileged to be so aware of ourselves. And it's our duty to reach back to some of those who aren't so privileged to know that they are worth it and that they do have value and that they have something to offer to this world. Because it's like we've all said, if we knew what we were worth, we wouldn't settle for less. So continue to reach back, continue to get those, because we can't keep talking in dynamic circles that only preach to our choir, and this is our choir. But we're hoping that this will reach a wider audience. I'm Comedian Visionary Speaks. You can find me on all the platforms, the Twitter links, the Facebooks, the Instagram. I don't really know how to work Twitter very well, but I'm on that bitch. All of them. You can find me. This is the 2020 Vision Podcast. Look at some of our other content that we've had. We talk about dynamic conversations. So go back and check out all that. All of these women will be on Saturday's open mic filled with Black beauty and Black excellence. So tune back in Saturday at 1 p.m. EST. We are going live, baby, with all these dynamic female Black comics, melanated comics. I can't wait to hear and see the hilarity that these women can bring to the platform. So join us right here again on that open mic. And I just thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Don't be a hoe. Press that
Don't
button.
be a lay-ho.
Don't be a lay-ho. Be better. Press that button, like, comment, and subscribe. All of us are developing comics. We need the support. So support everybody on the platform. And we'll be back at it again, next week with another topic. But until then, love yourself, take care of yourself. Don't let nobody be a reflection of the picture that you create in your own mind. Let the paint come from your own hand and just get out here and start making some dynamic change. We love you guys. And that's it. Pieces, love. We'll see you soon. Bye.